everybody. Welcome back to the Time Warp Podcast. I'm here with Anish as always, and today we have two guests. We have Morgs here. Say hi, Morgs.
Hi.
And we have our other friend MG. Say hi, MG. So yeah, today we're gonna take a break from football, and we're gonna go back to our roots, like what we usually start, like what we started this podcast with about like the 80s, 90s. So we're gonna talk about Avatar, not the movie, the garbage movie. We're talking about the show. Don't say that you
I'm
like
not
that.
saying it was good. I'm just
Okay,
saying
it was
calling it garbage.
it
Damn.
was garbage. Okay, but whatever. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about the last Airbender. Um, so yeah. All right, Anish, go ahead. Start us off. What are we gonna talk about?
So this podcast is definitely exclusively for people who like grew up with the show, had to
Yeah.
suffer
Oh,
through it.
facts.
Like having to wait 6 days between each episode, dude. It's not
I
like
know, right?
Netflix, dude, where these kids, these Gen Z kids, do just go on there and watch entire seasons of Stranger Things, dude. Like, I mean, I've never been this spoiled, dude. Like, I mean, dude, to be honest, man, like, I mean, this is like Time Warp, dude. It's a nostalgia show, and
Yeah.
like, since Avatar is technically now 2 decades old, we're not talking about Legend of Korra because Legend of Korra is not yet nostalgic,
Yeah.
but Avatar is 2 decades old now, and the thing is, um, like it's as a nostalgic property, right? Like I feel like a lot of like especially like not any of us here, but like I'm talking like 10 to 15 year olds, like maybe younger than that, dude. Like they've not really grown up in a world without the internet. Like the internet is like, especially with COVID and everything, like the internet is part of like all aspects of life, pretty much from education, learning, um pretty much you get everything online. You don't have to even watch TV. TV is basically almost obsolete. You're seeing with news networks and stuff like that becoming completely like losing viewership, whether it's Fox, CNN, whichever like you prefer. I mean, I know your dad still watches that. Yeah. So we'll like so what we're gonna do here is like start off with with this. We're gonna talk about like how each of us like what you like remember from watching that show. Like what how did you like back when like they showed it at a specific time. I think sometimes they showed it on Tuesday nights, sometimes Friday nights. Like what would you do if you missed an episode? Because I remember, dude, for like new episodes they didn't show reruns for a while.
Nope.
I do remember that. Like, so if you missed an episode you had to wait forever. I mean, I know you like at some point you could record it on DVR, but yeah, like when I started watching the show, I actually watched the first 2 episodes on like the original air date. And this was back when I was living in Canada even, and this was like definitely like I felt even at that time like I didn't understand literary analysis and stuff like that, and how to judge the quality of a show, the quality of a story, the quality of a script. But I can tell like this show is like a little bit different, a little bit of a class apart from the SpongeBob's and Danny Phantoms and Jimmy Neutrons, like at that time. So, like, what do you think about that, dude? Like, when did you just initially get into Avatar? Like in its original run.
I remember seeing like the first ad, and like just thinking about how like this was nothing like they ever done. Like I don't think there was anything at the time that was even similar to what Avatar was. Because like you said, there's SpongeBob, Danny Phantom, Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents, and then all of a sudden this came out, and this like completely different story of this kid who was trapped in. I mean, no, he wasn't trapped, but he was the Avatar, and then he hid for how many years was it?
Like 300.
300.
100 years.
100 years. Yeah.
100.
Yeah, 100 years, and then finally he came out, and and then everything else happened. But yeah, so yeah, my initial reaction to it was like, I need to watch this because I need a change for one, like a change from what I was usually watching, and it looked amazing. So those were my like first thoughts of it, and then of course when I started watching, it was as good or better than what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and the rest is history because it still stands as one of the best shows of all time. So.
Did you watch Ben 10 by the way on Cartoon Network?
Of course,
Because
yeah.
I feel these two shows were like a step above the other ones, man.
Yes.
Like, so we definitely have to. I'm glad you watched that, dude, because we probably have to do another like
Yeah.
episode on Ben 10 for sure.
They have
like, that shows.
they show where is it on Hulu? They have the original one, so we could watch it on there if you want. Do like a stream, watching from the beginning. Cause yeah, that was such a good show.
So Buttercup,
Yeah.
what where did you start watching Avatar? Season 1, 2, 3? Like did you miss any episodes in the middle? Like, what was your viewing experience like?
So I pretty much, I believe I started from the beginning, and I think I was like 4 or 5 when it originally premiered. Me and my brother don't really get along, but that's one thing that we would watch, where we would both be quiet, not fight each other, and actually watch for the story. Like y'all said, it was completely different to everything else that was happening at the time. Like, this is something unique that the creators came up with, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I remember, like, every time that I would hear the theme song come on, it's just like I'd have to stop and just listen to it. And when I was younger, I would used to act it out like I was one of the benders. But yeah, this is one of my favorite shows of all time, and I don't know, I really think that that it was one of the better shows that even Nickelodeon came out with at the time. So yeah.
So now I wanna ask, like, is Morg still there? Or
yeah,
no?
she's here. She's right next to me.
Okay, so as somebody who like started, because this is really difficult. See, for me, I got like hooked onto it almost like right away. I don't know if like you guys had that same experience, like whether you started liking it right away or you took a few episodes. But like Morg's somebody who sees it, obviously like as an adult on Netflix. What do you think? When did the show really start getting interesting for you? Because see, I remember seeing it with my girlfriend recently, and like she didn't really start getting like into the story and really invested emotionally into the characters and their journey until like season 2, I'd say. So like when did you really like start getting invested? Was it right away or did it take some time?
So I think the same as your girlfriend. Around season 2 was when I really got into it because I couldn't stop watching. I kept watching episode after episode after episode, which is great because I had Netflix and I could just binge it all, whereas you guys actually had to wait. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Struggles.
But I had to say, I had to thank Mary Grace because she got me into it. Even when it was like on the air, she told me to watch it, but I couldn't get into it on air. But I know I watched like one episode when it was airing and I had no idea what was going on. And then I watched it on Netflix and I remembered the episode and I was like, oh my gosh, this all makes sense now. I know who these people are. I know their stories. It was cool. And it is definitely different from what I used to watch on Nickelodeon, like the Fairy Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron and stuff. Very different, had an actual like story that you had to follow episode for episode. You couldn't just watch one episode, then watch another one, and you'll be lost. So it was very different, very nice.
And I feel like when you're younger, it's easier to like get into the show like that, cause like your young mind is like absorbing a new, into like completely different from everything you've watched before. So
definitely,
because when you're older, like you have what's the word? I guess you're more picky of like stuff that you watch.
Taste is more refined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you judge the show more of like small little details.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So yeah.
I just have a childlike mind, so I see everything. It's like seeing everything for the first time, like, whoa, this is cool.
Like sometimes I experience, things like where I watch it as a kid, but then like as I, like watch reruns as I get older.
Mm-hmm.
Like the show kind of stinks, sometimes, or the
Oh yeah.
movie kind of
Mhm.
stinks. Like, we all had those things. Like,
Yeah.
we have things we outgrow. We have things that when we look back on it when we're older, they don't really hold up as much. But the thing about this show is that, like, I can see it at any age,
Yep.
and not only does
Definitely.
it still hold up, but the thing is, like, there's so much in it for even older audiences that, like, I look at the show differently. Like, for example, I'll
Mm-hmm.
give you guys an example, right? Do you guys remember the episode Zuko Alone, where Zuko's in the desert?
Yep.
Like,
Mm.
he's separated from his uncle Iroh, who I actually do you like quick side note, dude, like Paulo, do you remember when I like quoted Uncle Iroh in that Fire
Yeah.
Tactics episode? Like, I just
Yes.
remember that.
Yes.
But yeah, in the episode Zuko Alone, right? Like, there's like a lot of, like, it shows the complexities of a dysfunctional family, and
Mm-hmm.
trauma and all that. And like, I didn't understand. See, when I first saw that episode, I was like, I think I was 7, and then like, it didn't really hit me what exactly was going on.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of, like, intrigue, in the Fire Nation Royal Palace, basically within Zuko's family. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand even at that time that, like, it was implied. It's implied because they don't show it. Like, it was implied that, number one, Ozai really intended to kill Zuko, and
Yeah.
number two, like, behind the scenes, like, you can say behind the scenes, Ursa, who's Zuko's mom, and Ozai, who's Zuko's father, like, they made a deal where she poisons the current Fire Lord, or who's basically like the regent, the king of the Fire Nation.
Mm-hmm.
At that time it was Azula, who was Zuko's grandfather. She poisons him in secret, and like, in return, like, the exchange is that she gets banished. Like, the minute Ozai becomes coronated.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand that, like, that dynamic at all. I didn't understand, like, Zuko's trauma or anything when I first watched that. What do you guys think? Do you guys, like, have that sort of experience where you feel like you get a kind of different vibe from the show after watching reruns? Like, how many times have you watched reruns, and, like, do you get a different vibe from it as you got older?
I rewatched the show I think at least 3 times now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, so the first time I watched it, like, I mean, because when you rewatch a show, like, especially if you see a show for the first time and you don't catch, like, some small, like, little details that
Mm-hmm.
are included, and then you watch it again and then you catch some of those small details, and then the third time you, like, instead of focusing on the details, you focus on the bigger picture, and then, like, you try to like, what's the word, like, analyze the movie more in depth.
Mhm.
So, like, when I watch movies, I go, like, 2 or 3 times and watch it again, especially if it's, like, a really good movie, and just to, like, really, get into the movie. But yeah, definitely, like, even just the first time that I rewatched it, it was, like, it was amazing. It was better than when I originally watched it when I was younger, because you catch and you understand more of the story. But yeah, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have to agree. Yeah, the first time, I think this is with everything, to add on to what Pablo said, it was like the first time you just watch something, you're watching just to watch it. You don't catch anything, like any of the small details that really make a big difference. But the second time, that's when you really start to get like more into it. You're like, wow, I never noticed this before.
Mm-hmm.
And to, like, I don't know, it makes it a lot more interesting, I guess, in my opinion. But yeah, I noticed a lot of things. Like, when I was younger, I didn't understand what was going on
Mm-hmm.
whenever Ozai officially took over the throne. I did not know what was happening.
Yeah.
I really had no idea what happened to Zuko's mom. I didn't understand, but I just went with it because I was like 4 or 5 years old. I had no idea. I couldn't understand the plot. And yeah, once I got older and rewatched it, like, because they used to show the reruns on a channel, I don't know if it's still running, but it's called Nicktoons or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they still have it. Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't think they show it anymore, but whenever I watched it on there, it's like, wow, I never noticed that. And it took me so long for me to get it. And then over the summer, I watched it whenever it first came back on. It's like, wow, I really missed this. This was so great. I'm happy that I rewatched it.
Well, for me,
No,
being
yeah.
a newcomer,
So
I didn't understand
can you
it.
guys give
But
me
then,
like
you know, it was cool seeing the character development within everything, because you always have to appreciate that. And you know, little kids, when you watch it for the first time, you don't understand that at first. You don't understand what trauma is. You don't understand what character development is. So watching it as an adult, it's cool to see, and it just like it takes over you. It's like, oh, he went from this type of character, like bad and evil looking, to someone that you can actually see being nice and having that trauma that made him that scary character in the beginning.
Like, dude, you cannot tell me that when you were younger, you watched this, that you understood anything that happened with Uncle Iroh, and then when you watch it again, oh my god, that when he died, man, oh my god, jeez, that hit so hard after you watch when you're older, because you actually understand what happened. Man, that was.
Oh, with Luton.
Yeah, no, yeah.
His son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Iroh didn't die. I'm just talking about.
I was like, wait.
I was like, dude, man.
I mean, he dies in Korra, but we don't talk about that show. But yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, his son. That hit hard. I remember when I rewatched it. That was really sad. But yeah.
Are you talking about the episode Tales from Boss 6A where he has a sort of
he has like a little funeral. I mean like it's because of his birthday. Yeah.
Yeah, you can say it's like a requiem sort of thing.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, so what are your guys' top 5 moments? I won't say like episodes because like that might be too hard to remember. What but top 5 moments in any order. Just give me like 5 moments from the show you guys really like.
Oh. I'll go.
Anyone can speak.
I know. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Let's see.
Oh gosh.
I know I talked to Mary Grace about all these moments that like stuck to me.
Let me see.
Go ahead then, Morgan.
That's really tough.
Tell me about everything with the show, because you knew it better than me.
Yeah. I honestly, I really like the moment when Zuko and Iroh reunite in the tent in, I guess, season 3. Yeah, that's one of my favorite moments because it's kind of like full circle. Iroh's like, I wasn't upset with you. You just lost your way, something like that. Which kind of gets me emotional thinking about it, because it's like, oh my gosh, 2 of my favorite characters, they're finally reunited. Everything's good, and Zuko's one of my favorites just because of his character development. He probably has the best story out of all of them in terms of that. But yeah, that's probably one of my top moments.
Top 5, man. Like, just to name 5 moments from the show, damn.
I know one.
Dude, go top 10 if it's too hard.
No, like just even thinking of like a top 10 is hard. But if you have, you can talk.
One that stuck with me was when you found out that Zuko was the blue spirit person. I had no idea, and then I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's wow. And I was telling Mary Grace about that. I was like, oh my gosh, I had no clue.
She was freaking out, texting me whenever she saw that.
Really?
Oh, man.
I really like the introduction of Toph, too. She's hilarious, so sarcastic. She's, oh my gosh.
When she started,
I like her.
When she started to bend metal, that was really cool.
Dude.
Oh yeah, that was a pivotal moment right there.
That was cool. But what was the other one? I forgot.
Give me 3, dude. Give me just 3.
I
Dude.
remember the name. I remember the name of the episode when they.
Oh, you don't have to say the name. You can just describe the scene.
You gotta say what happened to that.
When what's his face? When they escaped that prison.
Oh, the boiling rock.
Yeah,
Dude, I was about to say that one.
Yeah, the boiling. Yeah, that was really cool. I love that episode.
Oh gosh.
That whole episode was amazing. And I think definitely the finale was like incredible.
Oh yeah, 4-part
Yeah.
finale.
Oh man.
Great.
Bro, and oh my god, and Morgan didn't have to experience waiting for the
Sorry.
waiting in the oh my god.
Oh, and since we're on that topic, dude, we have to like talk about that because see, the writer's strike happened, in the fall of I think 07, right after they showed the Day of Black Sun, which was like the middle point of season 3. And then we had these mofos made us wait like 9 months. And then they just shoehorned in like the last 5 episodes like in the span of a week in July, and then like the finale a week later. Oh my god, dude! Like what?
That was torture.
Dude, like just the way that happened, dude, was like. I mean, it's
how
so
you
much
learn
better
patience,
when
right
you
there.
can just see it all on Netflix. Yeah. So much better when you can see it all on Netflix, dude.
Oh my god. and the thing is, like, so shows on Netflix, like, even because like a little off topic, but like on Disney Plus, Mandalorian, like they make you wait for episodes.
Yes.
But like on Netflix, like, they'll like the new Stranger Things season comes out, all episodes are out, and then you finish the show in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So like it's
that was
nothing. It's nothing to what like how we had, not even just Avatar, like any show. Like I'm trying to think of a good example, because like SpongeBob would come out every week, so that it wasn't. What's a good example of like a show?
A show that came out.
Yeah.
You mean like an animated? Does it have to be animated or just?
I mean, because I could name it like The Walking Dead. You have to wait like at least like almost a whole year until the next season comes out.
Dude, Breaking Bad was torture.
Oh,
man,
there you go.
Like,
oh my god. And when Better Call Saul came out, that was
I never watched that. Actually.
That's a really good show. But yeah, Breaking Bad, that was torture. Oh my god.
Did you watch the Star Wars Clone Wars series finale, by the way?
I haven't watched. I've seen it, but I have to rewatch it because I watched that a long time ago.
I hered somebody make a reaction, dude. So like, did anybody watch it?
Buttercup, so of course Buttercup saw it.
Okay, so Buttercup, as they say. Clone Wars series finale or Avatar series finale? 2 4-part series finales.
No.
Which one's better? Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. I feel like, I love Clone Wars, but I don't think it's up to par with Avatar in terms of the finale. And it's partially because the whole last season wasn't. I love Ahsoka, but her episodes when it was just her weren't as good as I thought they were going to be, so it didn't really hype me up for the finale.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, it was great. I loved the finale, but it was like I really had to wait for this to happen, and then I was sad because of everything that was going on with the clones and Ahsoka and Maul, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was freaking out with it. But I don't know. I think I have to stick with Avatar being the better series finale.
Like, Avatar is unquestionably the better show, dude. Like, Avatar is unquestionably the better show.
Yeah.
As an isolated, 4 episodes, I'd say the Clone Wars finale is actually better. Because the thing is, like, that, dude, like, I think this is from the first time since I was a kid. No, like, show or movie has actually made me shed tears. But I actually shed tears at the end of the Clone Wars finale. Like, the Avatar finale is, like, a perfect finale. Like, I mean, like...
It's a good ending,
I can get... If you get really emotional, really emotional, like, seeing Aang finally get his girl at the end, like...
Oh, yeah, I got emotional after watching it.
Like, that can make you... But, dude, like... When they buried all the clones, dude, like, after everything they gave, after, like, the way they were abused by Krell, after, seeing, like, so many of them die, like, over the course of the show, like, after seeing victories, countless battles, dude, like, and this is from, like, I read this in a YouTube comment, and the end of all that war, all that's left is... a broken man, aka Anakin, who's now Vader, whose reflection is seen in the visor of forgotten soldiers, who are the clones. And, that really reflects the reality of war. Like, so many, World War I, World War II, the Civil War, people forget, like, the sacrifices that, those men and women gave for, their country, dude. Like, I mean, and so like people are vilified, like different, like each side will promote propaganda, things like that. But that's the thing about war, dude. Like, I mean, eventually, like you're just part of the time warp, and you just get like forgotten in history. And definitely one of the episodes that shows, like, in Avatar, that shows the realities of war was, and we'll actually like get into, like, I actually have to give you my top 5, but like one of the episodes of Avatar that really showed the reality of war, and this is definitely in my top 5 moments. Like, not that it's a good moment or that I like it, but the fact that it's so true. When Zuko like helps those people in the town, who are like struggling as economically, financially from the repercussions of the 100-Year War. Like they're being abused by like the resident like Earth Kingdom soldiers. He beats them up basically, and then he like goes back to the kid he gets to know over the course of the episode, and he's like, here, like it's yours, like I did all this. And then the kid is basically, he spits in his face, metaphorically. He's like, I hate you. So despite everything he did because of their nationalities, like, and the history behind that, even though their individual experiences are different, and Zuko was good to him and he was initially good to Zuko, like, when you bring up like if you're making a connection to the real world religion or nationality or race, things like that, like, people will hate each other over these things, and these things take a front seat more often than we'd like over things like, the character, or personality of a human being. Like it's like what MLK said, like, you shouldn't judge based on, the color of somebody's skin. You should judge them based on the strength of their character. But more often than not, people judge like based on the former. This was just like an instance of that within Avatar, and one of the many themes of the show, and ties in to the real world. But yeah, dude. So I'll give you like so that's one of my top 5. Another one, and I can't believe you guys forgot it. Shame on you. The reveal that Roku was Zuko's great grandfather.
Oh,
that reveal, dude. Shame
that
on
was
guys
shocking.
That, dude. Like, that was that's a top 5 moment right there.
Damn.
That's a top 5 moment right there. So since I'm like co-hosting, I'll ask you, like, what was you guys' reaction to like that? Because that was one of the best episodes of the whole series. So what was your reaction to that ending? That like Roku's actually related to him?
Bro. Like, oh my, bro, that's like one of the, I mean, not even like top 5 moments of the show. Like, reveals of like that are not like common now in any show. Like, that was, I don't even know how to explain. That was insane. Like, just the build up to like to that moment, and then having that reveal is like one of the craziest in like any show that I've seen, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It was very interesting because I think Iroh's the one that reveals it, right? So whenever I think it's when he's in prison or something, and Zuko visits him. But I just thought that was so interesting because Zuko's like, I already know my history and everything. And then Iroh explains to him the reason why you're going through all this conflict is because you're having to choose between good and bad. That's what your great grandfather had to do or something like that. And he chose obviously to not help the current Avatar, and current Avatar ended up being related to his mother, which I thought that was so shocking. I had the same look on my face as Zuko did at the end of the episode, where he was so shocked.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That honestly might be top 5 for me. It might be one of the, honestly, top 3 probably. But all of my top 3 have Zuko in it because he's a great character. So yeah.
Yeah.
Morgs, any thoughts?
I have 0. I'm so bad because I didn't get to experience it like as a child.
No, but you like, but the thing
But
is,
you still experienced it.
Yeah,
I
watching
know,
it on
but
Netflix.
I don't remember it. I had the worst memory. That's why I wanted
I'm
to
gonna-
be on this.
You're Dory.
dude, my next moment, I think that I'm on my third one. The next one is, okay, do you guys remember the Winter Solstice Part 2? This was in way
Yes, I
back in
remember that
season
one.
season
Yes.
Oh,
Remember, like,
Yeah.
when Zhao is like, dude, like, this like, dude, like, this reminds me so much of like something Mutao would say, mom, dude. Like, he's like,
Wait.
when that gate opens, unleash all the firepower you have. And then, like, dude, like, you know, in this whole like, while everybody's fighting outside, like, the outside the room, you know, because it's a tomb sort of thing in this temple. Aang is inside the main chamber, like, you know, which is like Roku's, I guess his idol, his statue is there, and he goes to the spirit world, and he's inside the room, basically like communing with Roku, like, you know, like talking to him about what he has to do. He has to defeat the Fire Lord before the comet arrives, blah blah blah. And then like there's all this like conflict going outside, and then, you know, like just when they're about to like open fire, you know, like the door opens, they actually shoot Aang, but then, you know, like you see like the fire just like dissipating, and it's actually like Avatar Roku standing there. You know, that was crazy, dude. Like, if you guys remember, I know I'm really going far back, but like you see like it's not Aang, it's Roku, and like everybody gets terrified and starts running, dude. Like, I mean, that was hilarious.
Yeah,
What a great like great scene.
oh,
My next one, and actually this is actually one of the longest standing arcs of the show. It spans all the way from the end of season 2 to the end of, you know, season 3, basically the series finale, right? And that's Aang's spinal injury. You know, like when Azula like shoots him with lightning. So my favorite moment, like I guess I'm gonna merge them, right? It's when Azula shoots him, but then like he triggers, you know, that physical trauma again in the series finale when he's fighting Ozai, and then, you know, he gets buried by rubble, and then like Ozai's like trying to walk up to it, dude, and then like this freaking like
Grabs onto his beard.
dude, it's like something straight out of Evil Dead, dude. Like if you've seen that 80s movie, dude, like the hand like comes out and grabs. That was like, and he just like jumps out of the rubble, dude, and I think like he airbends Ozai like halfway across the canyon, dude. Like that was amazing, dude. That was amazing. Like, and if you look at our intro, there's like a pic of Aang in the entering that Avatar state for the last time in the show. He gets that giant like orb of, you know, air, like and then he basically combines all the elements and combines them like BD core or core TG as he goes. He combines them, and he's like floating in midair, and like Ozai gets like shit scared. Basically, he just starts running, dude. I mean, that was a hilarious and amazing and badass scene. And number one, all right, number one, and this is mainly because of action, destruction, and animation quality. And after we end the stream, dude, Pablo, you're gonna have to go on YouTube and stream this because I want to watch it again. That scene, you know, when after Zhao kills the moon spirit at the end of season 1, and everybody gives up, and then like Yue is like, dude, there's no hope, it's all over, the world's out of balance, and then Aang just like opens his eyes and he's like possessed like by Pazuzu. He goes like, no, it's not over. Sylvester Stallone like, and then like that's crazy, dude, because like he walks into the pond, and the animation is beautiful, dude, because the thing is, like, especially for 2005, and if you watch my intros that I always make, I always use black and white. I love the black and white, and I can't I'm gonna like go into like how good this animation is, dude, because and why I like it. You know, so Aang steps into the water, like the ocean spirit, which is also in the form of a koi fish, like swims around him. He's standing still, and then like, you know, I remember seeing that live, like when it first aired, and like he just like drops like the like free fall speed into the water, like he just like gets pulled in, and then you see this giant freaking like Cthulhu monster like rise from like behind the palace and just start like wrecking havoc, destroying everything. And the beauty of this, all right, the beauty of this is that the Koizilla, which is like what the creators like colloquially termed it, you know, there's no real term for it. It's basically Aang just merged with the ocean spirit, like that, you know, which they colored, you know, like white and light blue, you know, great choice. that, and there's actually a secondary fight going on in the scene between the final confrontation between Zhao and Zuko.
Yeah.
You know, like when they're dueling each other, like technically, I mean, it's not an Aglikai technically, but it's kind of like an Agnikai, like a rematch. You know, when they're firebending, that's in color. You know, you can see the orange and the red fire there, and then you can see like the ocean spirit lit up in blue, but everything else is black and white. You know, and like I just love the contrast, the artwork, the style, everything about the scene is just perfect. I mean, like I went on IMDb, you know, like way back when, you know, maybe like 2010 or something like that. Like, you know, as you know, when I was on one of my Avatar binges, and like I was like seeing, you know, and some of the reviews were like from way back in 2005. You know, right after that episode dropped, and like they're like, "Is this the best thing Nickelodeon has ever aired?"
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I think it was definitely up to that time, because that finale was like, wow. Like, I mean, if you weren't interested in the show, dude, like that finale would definitely get you interested for season 2. So that is my number one moment, dude. Like, amazing ending, dude. Like, amazing ending. You know, like season 1 was kind of slow, I felt, you know, like for the first half, but the second half really picked up, and what an ending, dude. Like, especially the way he. Wait, Paul, like, how recently did you. When's the last time you saw this? Like,
it was last year.
Yeah. Do you remember that part where like Aang like just like it's something straight out of freaking Kill Bill, dude? Like where he just like slices like the control tower of one of the ships, right? But like it starts sliding off, like you know, like in a minute. Like I'm like when I saw that, I was like, wow, dude, like wow, like that's insane.
Sliced clean like, through it, and then it slowly fell off. Yeah.
Holy crap, dude! Like I mean, I'm like, and before I saw that, dude, because I was really young, I had no idea ice can cut through steel. So seeing that, I was like, you know, when I first saw that, dude, like, you know, because I was like really, really little when I saw that, so I was like, wow, dude, like, is this, like, I never, and then, you know, of course, I learned, like, about, you know, the Titanic and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, yeah, ice can't actually cut through steel, but when I saw that, I was like, wow, dude, he's so powerful, like, look at this guy, and I was like, what an amazing ending, you know, like, what an amazing show. So let's go a little bit deeper, and I'll see what I have next on the agenda. So, characters. Okay, so I'm going to start with like Buttercup again, because I think you actually, I think I can guess your top 3. Is it Toph, Zuko, and Iroh? Who's your like top 3 best characters?
Okay, honestly, okay, I like Katara, Zuko, and I really, okay, here's the thing. I really like Sokka. I think he's hilarious. So he might be top 3, actually. Definitely Katara and Zuko as top 2. Yeah, I think they're my favorite, but I also like Toph because of her sarcasm, and I wish I could be that sarcastic and funny at the same time. But yeah, I think those are my top 3.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, Pablo, what about you? What's your top 3 characters?
Is it in order or just?
No, just 3, dude. Just 3. Just give me 3, dude.
Zuko.
Oh, we're on the struggle bus today.
So okay, Zuko. I really like Iroh.
Yes.
And Appa.
Oh, yip.
Oh my god, dude. Like, definitely. Okay.
That drunk episode when he was standing up. Oh my god.
Oh, I know. I knew like Pablo would like Appa, so like we need to like kill some more time, dude. So what do you think of that episode, Appa's Lost Days, when it's mainly about him traveling the Earth Kingdom? Tell me about that episode.
Oh my god, it was so.
Anybody can chip in. Anybody can
sad.
Chip in.
It was so sad, but when he finally got back to Aang, that was a beautiful. Oh my.
I really like when Suki helps. Suki's also one of my favorites. But I really like when Suki finds him and he's like all afraid, you know, and then he finally starts to trust her to help him.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Pablo.
I love Appa so much. I'm naming my next dog after him because he's just one of my favorite characters. But yeah.
Appa?
Yeah, Appa, yeah.
So the cat is going to be Momo.
No,
you have to train him that when he gets up on the couch or anything,
I know.
You have to say yip yip. When he gets up, oh my gosh.
Yip, yip.
Oh, please, train it.
But yeah. And yeah, my cat will be Momo for sure. Yeah.
Okay, Morg's top
Yeah,
3
go
characters.
Okay. For me, it kept switching around as I was watching it, but definitely my favorite has to be Iroh. He was always my favorite from like beginning to end.
Dub.
And then I love Sokka. He is the comic relief, and he is just so funny. I loved him every
That's why I
minute.
love him.
And it has to be between Zuko and Toph for me, because Toph is a tough character. And in the beginning, I hated her. I did not like her. I thought she was just so ignorant. But then I got to watch her more. I was like, oh, okay. And then Zuko, his character development floors me. It's amazing. I never thought that someone could put so much into a character to make you dislike him and then like him. It's amazing. So definitely Iroh, Sokka, and then between Toph and Zuko for me.
Okay, so dude, Pablo, I want you to take a guess, and you need to redeem yourself. You need to get your honor back. Take a guess who's like one of my top 3, dude. Take a guess.
Besides Iroh?
Dude, like the name of this VC is a hint for you.
Oh.
Check the chat, dude.
Oh my god. I mean, like, the Dai Li, yeah? Oh my god. I forgot.
Dude, it's the Dai Li, dude.
Yes,
Dai Li's
the
like, no,
Dai
definitely,
Li.
dude.
Oh.
You can't like. I mean, it's not one character, so you can't really say they're a character, but an organization, dude. Yes, they have the best theme music, the best costumes, and for like stormtroopers, I'm using the term loosely, dude. Like, stormtroopers. So there's different stormtroopers in the show, dude. Like, for example, the Fire Navy guards, the Earth Kingdom soldiers, Fire Nation soldiers. Like, these are just expendable, like, idiots. Like, but these are of all the stormtrooper-esque characters, dude. These guys are the best ones, dude, because they've got like the rock gloves. Like, I mean, dude, those are like that was true.
Oh, that is amazing,
bruh.
Who came up with that, dude? Like, do you guys remember that scene where like they start kidnapping all the Earth Kingdom generals, dude? Like tying them up in chains and shit. Like, wow.
Oh yeah.
That was wild, dude. And I can't believe any of you said this. You were all disappointing me today. King Boomy. King Boomy is like definitely.
I love King
Oh
Boomy.
gosh.
It's hilarious.
Boomy's hilarious.
So funny.
Dude, fun fact, and we'll get into this in the world building segment, dude. But Bhumi in Sanskrit, which is an ancient, it's kind of like the Latin of South Asia, like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh area. It's basically a dead language, but like many of the religious texts in there, are based on, kind of. It's a lot of the Avatar terminology is based on Hinduism and all that stuff. And Bhumi actually means earth in Sanskrit, so that's a fun fact. That's not a coincidence either. Number 1, and I'm even more disappointed in you guys for letting me down on this, bottling it like you wife alone us. And
So chaotic.
Azula has to be because they're like, I mean. Why no love for the villain? Really, she's the main villain of the whole show.
Yeah.
What a character, dude. Like, what a character, dude. Like every time Azula showed like human emotion, because she's basically like a Hannibal Lecter type of character, dude. Like, I mean, so every time she showed human emotion, some kind of empathy, everything, like that was like a wow moment for me.
Yeah.
Like, like this episode when is oftentimes overlooked by the kids, but it's one of those things where like when I saw the show again as an adult, like I really appreciated the beach, season. I think that was season 3. Yeah, like when they're all talking around the campfire, dude, you get to see like a little bit more of her character and her complete, mental breakdown, dude. Like breaking down like Sean after a massive disaster class. Like, I mean, like the series finale, dude. Unreal, dude. Like
Sean
she becomes completely unhinged.
Sean after the Liverpool match. Oh,
no, dude. You know who that is, dude? That's Bartomeu, dude. Like sacking him. Like, she fires the Dai Li. She banishes the Dai Li. She banishes all her servants. I think one of one of her, like, I don't know what they are, dude, but like you know, like those two really old women, dude, who like
Oh, the
follow her around.
twins.
Yeah, like I
Oh,
forgot their
yeah,
names,
those
dude, but
old
I think she
ladies.
banishes one of them. Like,
Yeah.
like, dude, like that was insane, dude. So she's definitely a fun character. She's the one who really like gave, you know, she's the Darth Vader of the show, dude. Like, and
Yep.
when I say that, I mean like, you know, like in Star Wars, right? And we have to do a Star Wars episode for sure,
Oh
especially
my god.
original trilogy, because that's '80s gold right
Woo.
there. But then
Ooh.
in the Star Wars original trilogy, dude, you know the Emperor was the big bad, right? He's the
Yeah.
king. But Vader was the guy chasing, you know, the gang around,
Yeah.
you know, like all that crap. And you know, like actually, dude, like some of you who love Star Wars and like love literary analysis, like might have really picked this up. The series 2 finale, Crossroads of Destiny, is basically a love letter. I think I'm pronouncing their names right, like Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, the creators. It's their love letter to Lucas for Empire Strikes Back, because there's enormous parallels between the season 2 finale of Avatar and Empire Strikes Back, the Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
You have Aang and Luke going abroad, learning from a guru type of, you know, character, Yoda, and then Guru Pratik over here, learning about their trade, learning about their powers. Their friends get in trouble, you know, in a city, you know, like in Star Wars it was Bespin, here it was of course Ba Sing Se. You know, you have like, and this is where the parallel comes in, right? Like Azula kind of plays that Darth Vader role, where she's like, you know, she gives Zuko the choice. But I think the only difference here is, dude, like unlike Luke, who just says no and, you know, falls down the pit, somehow miraculously survives. I really don't know how that happened, but Zuko actually like takes her hand. You know, like this is basically what would have kind of like a what if moment, dude. What if like Luke joined Vader, because Zuko actually joins Azula and he like betrays. I guess you could say betrays, because him and Katara had a moment. Oh, by the way, like any of you guys actually, you know, like I was never into this like nonsense, dude, at the time. But like, did any of you guys like ship Zutara or whatever? Like, I mean, because I feel we have to give that a shout out.
Oh.
Like, you know, those
No.
fan bases,
No.
dude. Like,
No.
okay, no
No.
cringe people in here, dude.
No,
Okay,
no, no,
good.
no, no.
Okay, yeah.
Ahmed would have said yes, by the way.
Oh yeah, 100%. They had a little moment over there, and then, you know, like, dude, this was hilarious, dude. But like, I remember this show so well because of how many times I saw it. Zuko walks out, like they're like fighting in sort of this dungeon underground, like catacombs area, kind of like the catacombs of Paris, dude. Like it's like the underground
Yeah.
of Ba Sing Se. And then Zuko walks out, dude, like a freaking Dawn, dude. Like, I mean, like Ronaldo when he's about to take that free kick, dude. He just walks in, and then like he looks at Azula, looks at Aang and Katara, looks at Azula, looks at Aang again. It kind of reminds me of that scene, like, you know, like Pablo and Revenge of the Sith, dude, where Anakin's like looking at Mace, and then he's looking at Palpatine, dude. He's like making that choice.
Yes.
I need him alive.
Dude, that movie, dude, actually came out a year before this season got out. But like, he was looking at Aang, looking at Azula, dude. Then he looks at Aang, dude, and then this guy, dude, just goes ballistic, dude. Like he just starts shooting, like, like he just starts shooting fire at him, dude, like crazy, dude. Like he's literally just like punching air and like shooting fire at him. Like it's like a semi-automatic, dude. Like he just like goes insane and just starts shooting him, dude. And like Aang is like trying to like dodge and everything, like. And I like that episode finale, dude, because it actually showed how much more powerful Zuko got in season 2 after Iroh trained him. Too bad he betrayed Iroh and used all the training against him to like try and kill Aang or whatever, dude. But like that scene where Zuko like makes whips out of fire and like just breaks a whole bunch of like stalactites, dude. Like, I mean, like tries to like kill Aang and all that stuff. And you know what's kind of funny, dude? I have to say this, dude, but for the Azula thing, right? Azula usually has like Aang and Zuko on the ropes, but for some reason, and I think this is kind of like a matchups thing, dude. Like Katara always like gets the better of her in fights. I noticed
I
that.
love that. I love it though.
That, dude. Like like because there was a moment even in the finale, dude, like season 2 finale, where like Katara again has Azula on the rope. She like grabs her by the arm, grabs her by the leg. And then Zuko, of course, comes in and, like, you know, like, undoes it. And, you know, for some reason, even though Azula, like, at that point is, like, more powerful than Zuko, dude, for example, like, for some reason, Zuko is always, like, a better matchup for her. I don't know why. I think it's a matchups thing, you know, like in sports, but yeah, whatever. So, yeah, any more thoughts? Any more characters like I hope I like gave you guys like a little bit of food for thought, dude. Who are some of them who are like and please nobody say the Cabbage Man, dude, but like everybody except that, dude. What are some minor characters you liked in the show? Except for the freaking Cabbage Man, dude. Like I don't want that guy.
The Cabbage Man.
Honestly, okay, so I honestly I didn't like Jet at first, but he kind of redeems himself before we don't find out what happens to him, technically. But I really like whenever he's in the Earth Kingdom and he obviously he sees Zuko that one time and he's like, okay, he's a firebender. Nobody believes him. He's taken away, and then a few episodes later, I guess it's like he sees Aang, Katara, and them, and he's changed, but he's really been brainwashed and everything. But it's like the end of that episode, whenever we stop seeing, like, we see him, he's still brainwashed and everything, but then he, like, kind of, I don't know if I'd say sacrifices himself, because I can't exactly remember what happens, but I think that's when I started liking him, like, right before we don't find out if he died or not. But, yeah. I also like Ty Lee. She's pretty good. I really like Ty Lee. But yeah.
I just like Ozai because he's voiced by what's his face? Mark.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Can't go wrong.
He's pretty underrated. That's a good scene when Zuko what's it called?
Oh yeah.
With the lightning.
Yes.
When he
yes. That is one of the better.
I don't remember what the word
reverses it.
Yeah. Well, he
lightning redirection.
He redirects lightning.
There you go. That's the redirect. That's the word. Yeah. He redirects lightning back at Ozai. That's a good scene. I remember that. Yeah. But yeah.
I agree.
I like Ozai. Yeah.
Anybody else? Any minor? Nobody likes Mai. Mai.
I mean,
I don't know. Like,
I like Mai all right. She's just not.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's not up to the level.
She's not interesting. Like, they didn't really develop her as much as they had developed other characters in the show. She was just there.
She was there. Yeah, exactly. She was just there. I feel like I'd like her more if she had more scenes, maybe, but I just don't. All she was no offense, but I feel like whenever I think of her, I just think of Zuko's girlfriend. I don't really think of much. She fights, but it's not like Ty Lee had more of a personality. And I know that Mai was kind of bland because that was her upbringing. She had to be quiet. She had to sit still and all this other stuff. But like, I don't know. She doesn't really ever get away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, she doesn't develop into someone different. Or, like, yeah.
That's true.
Whereas you see Ty Lee, she used to be like a circus performer. And then she used that for her fighting. Then she became more. So you saw her development. You saw everyone else's development. But the other one just seemed kind of bland.
Okay, so we're gonna go
like
into a
Appa's
little
underrated
bit.
too, but yeah, sorry, continue. Yeah.
No, like we're about to. Okay, Appa's. I mean, but I think you mentioned Appa though, wasn't it? One of your top 3?
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, I feel like he's like no one really mentions him. But yeah.
I want to call him a minor
None of us said Aang too, so.
I like Aang, but he's not top 3.
I know, yeah, definitely.
It's weird to say, dude, but the Titular character is not top 3.
I know, right?
Like,
yeah.
he didn't make it into any of our top 3s. Like,
right, yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay, I like Aang, okay, but no, he's not up there.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just say, oh, the main character is my favorite. No, there's plenty of other people.
Yeah. I usually say that the main character is my favorite, but Aang's not my favorite in this case. I don't know. I really like him, but there's certain shows where I can't just say, oh, the main character is my favorite, and this is one of them.
Yep.
Especially in a show with so many great characters in it, dude. Like,
Definitely.
yeah, it's kind of
Yeah, they did a good job with that. They didn't make... I mean, here's my thing. A lot of shows try to make the villain unlikable, but I feel like they really made... Like, I feel like Azula is the main villain, okay? I know Ozai is the big bad Fire Lord, and eventually Phoenix King, but, like, Azula is the main person, in my opinion, and I feel like they made her so likable for no, like, I don't know what it is. She's just so likable in my opinion, and I just feel like she's probably up there above. She's probably above Aang, honestly.
Dude, you know why she's likable, dude. Like, or like at least this is what I think, right, from like my perspective. Like the thing is, like she's like arrogant, dude, but sometimes it's kind of pompous arrogance. Like the thing is, like she's super insecure about like a lot of things, you know. And you saw like all this insecurities come full fledged, like in the series finale, dude. But she's definitely like you know, she gets so paranoid, you know, like about so many things, like, and it's kind of funny, honestly, and it's kind of like relatable, you know. It's one of those extreme things that's relatable.
Definitely relatable.
You know what I find funny is whenever they're at the beach, I can't remember what you said. Whenever she's talking about my own mother thought me I was a monster, and then she makes a joke about it. She's like, "Of course I was, but it still hurt." I thought that was so funny.
Dude, you know what, dude? Azula kind of reminds me of Cristiano Pablo, dude. Like, she has to be, like, the best at everything. You know, like, it's, like, kind of like, remember the scene in the beach? You know, like, they're playing, like, volleyball, and then she freaking, like, rockets the ball into the ground, like, blows everybody away, literally, like, almost kills them, and she's like, yes, dude, like, she says something, like, diabolical, and she's like, yes, we won, I dominated, dude, and then she tries to hit on this guy and does the same thing. She's like, we're gonna dominate the world, and then, she just terrifies everybody, dude. She has one setting, dude, and that's, like, berserk, dude. It's either, like, it's either, like, apathetic or, like, berserk. There's nothing, like, in the middle. You know, there's no, like, a serene, happy, like, nothing like that, dude. It's pretty funny, dude.
And that, talking about her reminds me of another scene when, like, Katara, chains her to the sewer, the drainage pipe, and she just starts, like, laughing, like, insane.
Yeah.
That was crazy. But, yeah.
I really like that whole part with the Agni Kai, and then just ends up going against Katara because Zuko saves her and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, that is I love that part. Okay. Oh gosh, I can't even put words to it. I love that part, and then she just starts I can't remember exactly if she like breathes fire or whatever at the point where she's like crying, you know?
Yeah.
After she's chained up and Katara is helping Zuko, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of felt bad for her at that moment, but then again, she brought it on herself. So, yeah.
Dude, she was like laughing and crying, dude. It was kind of like that, you know, like usually, you know, like that's actually like a pretty common reaction when you see something traumatic, dude. Is that you like start laughing or crying, like a mix of the two. You know, like for example, like during a plane crash. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Grey with Liam Neeson, but like, you know, that movie involved a plane crash, and one of the passengers who survived was like laughing hysterically. You know, like, you know, usually that's a reaction like when something really bad happens, dude. But for Azula, it's like, okay, like you can't be Fire Lord, but you're bumped down to second, and you know all her insecurities coming full fledged. Like that's her worst nightmare, dude. Is like losing. You know, like basically, like she just hates losing. She hates coming in second. She hates not being perfect. You know, that was something that was. She's a perfectionist, dude. Definitely, definitely, she's a perfectionist.
She's
like
not your favorite character.
What was that?
No, it's just Mary Grace is a perfectionist.
I'm a perfectionist. Okay, no, she's not my favorite character, but she is hilarious. I think she's on a different level than me, but I also think it has to come with her upbringing because she was always Ozai's favorite. So he always encouraged her to be aggressive, ruthless, not care about what other people felt like or thought. So I think that's what shaped her into being who she was. And then like Ursa shaped Zuko into who he was, but he was also very conflicted. But yeah, I think with Azula, it's completely different. I don't think she's just a perfectionist. I think she's just crazy.
So you didn't feel bad for her when she was like crying or laughing and then crying? Because for me, I felt kind of bad for her because she was defeated. But at the same time, you had to be like, the villain was defeated.
Yeah, I felt bad for her, but at the same time, it was like, you know that she was doing all these awful things, and you know that she was going to do something bad once she became Fire Lord.
So like it was
So
deserved. Yeah.
it's kind of like it had to happen.
Yeah.
Uh, I can't imagine the series without it, honestly.
So before we move on to world building, I got a question. So Pablo needs to speak more because he's the host, man. What's the best season? Dude? What's your best season, dude? Which out of 1, 2, and 3, which one do you rate as the best one?
Ooh.
Oh, he's out?
Yeah, he's out. He went to El Baño.
Okay, I'll ask him when I comes back.
I like how you're practicing.
You can ask either of us. I'm sure Mary Grace has a good answer.
Yeah. He can answer when he comes back. But what do you guys rate as the best season?
Morgan, you can go first.
I thought season 3 was pretty good. Not gonna lie, because then it kind of answered some questions for me, and then it built up to the finale. But I thought season 3 had a lot of good moments in it. Made you laugh, made you feel connected to that. That and season 2 drew me to the characters more, but season 3 like solidified it.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think season 3 is my favorite. I like I'm just looking at the names of the episode and I can just tell what episodes they are. I feel like this is when Sokka finally starts to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And he's not just the comedy guy. And that's something I appreciate because he's one of my favorites and I love him. But yeah, I think season 3 is definitely my favorite. I think I love all of the episodes. And yeah, so Puppet Master kind of freaked me out when I was younger, but that's a different story.
I wanted to talk about this earlier. The episode where Katara is the painted lady, I thought that was a really good episode for her. And just in general, I love that episode. Forgot which book it was in though.
That was
book The Painted Lady's 3,
yeah.
I really liked that episode too. It's a really good one for Katara.
Definitely. Like every character has a good episode. What about you? What's your favorite?
Okay,
Mr. Co-host.
I'll say, like, I won't say, dude, you know what, dude, the way they did this, dude, like, I can't count season 3 as one season, dude, but I'll say the second half of season 3, because the second half of season 3 had, like, all the episodes were fire, like, all the episodes were bangers, like, I mean, somebody mentioned I think Pablo mentioned the boiling rock, dude. But like the boiling rock scene, the thing about what's special about that episode is I feel like even if you don't, it's like the one. If you ask me what the one Avatar episode is that you can enjoy without really knowing the backstory, without knowing the characters, without knowing the continuity, is that episode because the tonally like that episode is like completely different from the rest of the show. It's more like a buddy cop comedy type of thing. Like there's a lot of humor in it. There's a lot of action comedy in it. Like. It's in a prison break. There's a lot of parody in it. Like, I mean, it's really, really funny and like a really, really enjoyable episode. Like a lot of the rest of the series is much more dark and serious. Especially in the season 2 and season 3. But this was like definitely a break. Like definitely a tonal break from it. Is my friend back or no?
No.
Yeah. Well, I guess. Well, with the boiling rock, I really liked it. That's probably one of my favorite episodes of the entire series, part 1 and 2. So one of my favorite parts. I like when I liked every time Sokka went to go see Suki and Zuko had to cover for him. But I also like when Zuko and Suki see each other and they're mopping for the first time, and then Sokka tries introducing them, and then Zuko's like, yeah, we've actually met, and then Suki goes, yeah, he burned down my village. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, and I really like how my favorite part in the series for May was at the end of the part 2. Because she finally sticks up to Azula, and so does Ty Lee.
Yeah.
Which that is a pivotal moment in the whole the whole character development for them. May finally does something for herself. She saves the boy that dumped her, to quote her. But yeah, that's a really good really good episode. And I probably have to agree with you on the fact that that's probably, if you don't watch any episodes, those are probably two of the episodes that you should watch. Probably get you interested in it.
He's coming back. He's coming back, lads and lads.
I'll give him a minute. What's up?
What was your question again?
What's your favorite season?
What's your favorite season?
My favorite season?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to hear from you, actually. I wanted you to pass the judgment on this, but you left.
My favorite season. Let's see. I want to say. I think like it peaked at 3.
That's what I think. Said.
Yeah, like like at 3, it's like, I mean 2, like at the start of 2 was like it was getting good, and then like towards the end of 2 was really good, and then 3 is like when everything peaked. So yeah, probably 3 is my favorite.
Definitely gonna hold that thought for later. But let's talk about the world building, right? And this really shows the amount of love and care that the creators really put into making this show, dude. Like a lot of all of this is grounded in some form of like real world. You know, there's some like real world connections, like, you know, from everything they did. You know, from bending, which is based on different forms of martial arts. I forgot the exact martial art, but it's of Chinese origin that all the bending forms are basically like, you know, based on. But even the countries, you know, basically like the world of Avatar, for our viewers who don't know, obviously we know it, but you know, it's supposed to be like you know, Earth. But the thing is, it's not, because the thing is, Avatar is really like Earth if, you know, the entirety of Earth was completely of, you know, culturally, linguistically, like racially of like Asian origin.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely like an Asian, like Eastern show. You know, we see, you know, a lot of, and the thing is that immediately, like, you know, like not only was the show, the themes and everything, you know, we already talked about this, that it was like more definitely mature, especially for a kids show. Like there's themes in it for all ages, but another reason that it's different is because, you know, like we have movies and shows, you know, for example, Star Wars, you can see the allusions to the Bible in Star Wars, you know, Anakin, the Chosen One, things like that. You can see, for example, like Greek mythology, you know, like in movies like Hercules, the Disney movie. You know, there's a lot of like Western, you know, mythology and religion influencing like the media, even in present day. You know, like superhero movies, like a lot of things. You know, like for example, Man of Steel had allusions to Jesus, of course. You know, like there's a lot of like references to, you know, to Christianity, Judaism, you know, like and you know, the Greek and Roman myths as well. Percy Jackson, another like popular book, you know, referencing, you know, the Greek myths. But there's not that much media, especially children's media, that's, you know, based on the Eastern world as much as Avatar, dude. And okay, we had things like Mulan, you know, that like are based in China, but this is really different. You know, the creators created a different world, but like a lot of it is grounded in completely in Eastern. It's very weird, you know, because there's a lot of things that, you know, if in Eastern culture, for example, even the script, the writing, you know, the language in Avatar, if you've seen like, you know, the characters drawing and writing, it's definitely based on Chinese, you know, Mandarin. You know, but there's also a lot of
influence from the Eastern side.
And even, you know, religiously, you know, like for example, like I talked about how Bhumi, you know, before, like is based on Sanskrit for Earth, and you know, like as somebody of like Indian origin, like definitely like there's a lot of references I pointed out. For example, Avatar, right? Avatar, you know, in Sanskrit it's pronounced Avatar. You know, like that means, you know, it's basically like one who was reincarnated. And in the Hindu mythology, they're basically like, you know, God oftentimes like you know, like there's this like, you know, kind of kind of like a misnomer, like for people for Westerners, where like they think, like in Hinduism there's like millions and millions of gods, but there's not millions and millions of gods. And if you watch Avatar, you can understand definitely like what I'm about to say. There's actually a few gods, but in the mythology, like the gods reincarnate. Like the idea of a soul in Hinduism, and this went into Buddhism as well, like, because in Buddhism, like, reincarnation is there. For example, like, Tibetan Buddhists believe the Dalai Lama is reincarnated. Like, and there's definitely parallels between Aang, the Avatar, and that Tibetan belief, especially since, the Tibetan Buddhists are definitely, like, a major influence on the air nomads. Not just that, but the whole thing of, like, the Avatar and the soul, like, the soul in Hinduism and, like, in Buddhism is very different from the soul in the Abrahamic religions, dude. In the Abrahamic religions, like, your personality is very much tied to your soul and your essence. Your persona is basically like kind of like your soul. But in the Eastern religions, it doesn't really work that way. Your soul isn't really tied to you as a person because of this whole idea of reincarnation. Like, in one life, you can be in that mythology, you can be born as an animal. You can be born as a plant. You can be born as, like, who knows, a bacteria. You can be, your soul isn't really, like, tied to you as a person. And, you can be reborn as another person, which is basically, like, what you see in Avatar, because the Avatar reincarnates, into, like, it's a pattern, right? Like, air, water, earth, and fire. Like, that's the Avatar cycle. Like, the Avatar reincarnates into a person of a different nationality, each time. Like, they're completely different people. Kyoshi is completely different to Roku, is completely different to Aang, who is then completely different to Korra. They're like, their personalities are very different, their genders are different, their nationalities are different. Like, there's no real, like, there's not much similarities between them. Of course, they can tap into their past lives and communicate and have flashbacks and stuff like that, but that doesn't really affect who they are as people, and that's definitely something that's taken from Hinduism and Buddhism. Very interesting over there. And Pablo, I feel like Stranger Things kind of ripped this off. The whole idea of the spirit world was, like, incredibly fascinating to me when I watched this show. Do you think Stranger Things kind of ripped that off? Because I kind of feel they did.
yeah, facts.
Like, don't you think do you know the panda? I forgot its name, but in the Winter Solstice Part 1, the panda that turns into the monster, like, that was, like, when I saw that in Stranger Things, I was like, shit. And that, like, and I saw Avatar, like, that in a rerun, and I'm like, shit, it's the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. Like, like, and the whole idea of, like, and this even is, like, gaining traction in theoretical physics. It's like the idea of like, extra dimensions.
Yeah.
Like, and definitely we saw that in alien documentaries, like we do. Like, the extra dimensional theory, how aliens can come from other dimensions. That's basically the spirit world, and I feel like there's definitely, like, Native American influences in that as well. Like, especially with the Water Tribe, like, who are definitely, like, influenced by, I think, the Inuit culture, or maybe some, like, Siberian tribes, northern Siberian and, like, northern Mongolian tribes, like the Tatars and, like, stuff like that. And of course, like, the most, and Earth Kingdom, like, I think, like, the minute, all you guys, like, you saw the Great Wall of Ba Sing Se, like, you knew, like, this was, the Great Wall of China, and, like, the Earth Kingdom is supposed to be China, right?
Yeah.
A deeper connection was, like, the fact that, you see, like, the relationship between the Earth Kingdom and the Fire Nation, who are the main factions. Like, of course, the Water Tribe is involved. Of course, the Air Nomads were initially involved before they got, wiped out. Was, like, but the main factions in the 100-Year War are definitely the Earth Kingdom and the Fire Nation. And the whole idea of the Fire Nation colonies was strongly based off of the Japanese, like, invasion and occupation of Manchuria, like, leading up to the Second World War. In Japanese, Manchuria is Manchukuo. It's a region in northeastern China, and, like, a lot of the atrocities and things that were committed by the Japanese there, in addition to, like, more vendettas and beef in earlier history, like, that was a huge reason why the Chinese hate the Japanese. And, like I mentioned before, that scene in Zuko alone, where the kid, was like, when he found out Zuko's nationality was the Fire Nation, which corresponds to Japan in our world, like, he immediately hated him because that kid is like, he's from the Earth Kingdom, which is based off of China. And I feel like, sensitive things like that, like the creators really handled it well, because this is a very sensitive topic, dude. Like, war crimes, war, things like that. To show that in a kids show is extremely difficult, and the way they handled it was so tasteful. Like, I mean, that's probably like one of the best parts about the show, like the amount of violence they had in it, dude. But it was always tasteful, and it always like was it wasn't like Tarantino violence, dude. Like the violence was always related to the plot, like, what I mean. It wasn't like Friday the 13th, right? Like, they had scarring, like Zuko getting scarred. They had war, like, like there was, one of the more like wow lines in the show, and I actually remember because I saw it recently, was when it was again from Zuko alone, where like the Earth Kingdom soldier was walking up to like the guys, like that one of the farmers, and he's like, the Fire Nation captured. I heard they captured your son's battalion, and they dressed them up in Fire Nation uniforms and sent them onto the front lines against the Earth Kingdom unarmed. And that was one of those things I didn't understand watching it as a kid, but then I went back and saw it as an adult, and I'm like, wow, dude, they really put that in there, dude. Like the implications of that, like the show can definitely get dark for a kid's show, dude. Like, I mean, like for sure, and that was based off of some of the real like war crimes that like the Japanese did. They were famous for like those sorts of things, in World War II, for example, like against American POWs. Like a lot of times what they would do is, they created a lot of these nuanced torture methods. So like one of the more bizarre ones, and this is kind of like a history like digression, dude, but they would make you eat like dry rice, and then drink boiling water after. And anybody who cooked rice knows that like when you cook it like in boiling water, the rice kind of expands and becomes puffier. So basically your digestive organs, your stomach and all that would kind of explode, from the inside of your body once you like eat the dry rice and then like drink the boiling water after it. So like a lot of these things were like based off of, like real atrocities, real war crimes and things like that. It's definitely a very deep show. But yeah, the Fire Nation is the most interesting one. So I want your thoughts. Zuko was definitely like is definitely the main character who undergoes the transformation. But if you go back in the show and you watch more carefully, dude, like, and most of this is off screen because it's during his younger years, but Iroh went through a transformation. And Iroh is like, there's nobody who hates Iroh. Like most of you guys mentioned him in one of your character top 5s or top 3s. Like, what do you think of Iroh and his character? Because initially he was kind of like raised in the warlike culture, but I think after he lost his son, in Ba Sing Se, like that completely changed, his direction. He went from being on the warpath to like being more of a pacifist, believing, not completely a pacifist, but like it was more about righteous violence instead of like violence just for the sake of glory and conquest. So like, what do you think about Iroh and like him as sort of like a father figure for Zuko? Like, I want your thoughts on all of you guys' thoughts on it. Him as a character.
Go ahead, MG. Go ahead. Start us off.
Okay. I have to agree with you on the fact that, like, yeah, we don't really see much of Iroh's past, really, except when they talk about like how he was a war hero, pretty much, and then they mad at him because he eventually comes to his senses, and he's like, after his son dies, that's really when his character turns around. And although we don't really see that in the show, we pretty much see almost all good Iroh. Like, we don't really see anything bad about him. But yeah, I don't know. I really love Iroh. I think he has a great story, and I wish we kind of saw more of it. Like I'm really happy that we saw Zuko's, but I kind of wish we did see more Iroh flashbacks to see everything that happened, what led up to it. And I also want to find out, like, was it that he wanted to be a part of the, like, did he really want to lead in like the war, or was it just because his father wanted him to do it? Was he really committed to it, or was it just because the Fire Lord wanted it? Or like, I don't know. I feel like that's something that I'd want to see more of, just to tell if like did he really have a change of heart, or was he really like this all along and then he finally started acting a certain way.
I agree. That's like the words right out of my mouth. Because I was going to say, like, you don't know much about him aside from, like, you know about the past of his son. And then you can see the transformation that has on him. But you don't see that in the beginning. Like, you see him as, like, a humble father figure type person. And then you figure out, you, like, get to see a little bit more of him. But I wish you could see even more. Like, I wish we could see him, his character more than just, like, a father type figure who has some history.
The transition, the transition we saw with with Zuko, is what is what we missed with Iroh. Because if Iroh had if they had showed if they had showed Iroh with like a transition that Zuko had throughout the show, that would have been very, very interesting. But
bingo.
Yeah. Because maybe it could have been too much, like two main characters having those kinds of transformations, but I'm not really sure. We'll never know. But if the transformation that Zuko had, we definitely missed with Iroh, because that would have, even though the small transformation that Iroh had throughout the show was still nice to see, but and that reminded me of when I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know that when Iroh started to fight Azula, and I forgot where it was too. I don't remember, but yeah, I just remember that part, how he helped Zuko in that. But yeah, we definitely missed an Iroh transformation for sure. But yeah. What about you, Anish? What do you have to say about it?
Dude, definitely, and I think everything, I think Iroh's character, dude, he was almost kind of a comic relief initially, dude, because, he was, that guy who a lot of times broke the tension, with Zuko, he would try and take it easy, but over time you saw exactly why that was, and I feel like they handled him perfectly, honestly,
yeah.
Because the thing is, his role, see, the reason that he doesn't show much character is because he's an extremely, weathered human being at this point in his life. If you see that episode, and it all comes from the episode, Bitter Work, I think, where he's training Zuko how to shoot lightning, because he drops so much knowledge in that. One of the best quotes in that episode is pride is not the cure to shame. It's its source. So pride and shame are basically intertwined. Humility is the only antidote to shame. That is actually the main theme of Iroh. He's been humbled by life. He was arrogant. He was extremely proud of his country, much like how Zuko is a very proud character. Everybody says honor, honor, honor. That's become kind of a meme for Zuko, dude. But the reason he keeps saying that, dude, is because the thing is, and this really ties into not just Iroh but Zuko. It's one of the deepest underlying themes of Avatar, is this idea of humility, shame, and pride. Because the thing is, with Zuko, it's, first of all, the Fire Nation, of course, based off of Japan, right? But with Zuko, the thing is, it's that's definitely one of the major points of that. Why he's so obsessed with honor. But another reason is that because he's an extremely prideful character in the first season of the show, and he becomes humbled. The early life of Iroh and his transformation off screen basically mirrors the transformation of Zuko on screen. And I think Iroh basically the motivation of that character was that he saw himself in Zuko, and which is why he sort of took him in as almost a father figure. But back to the humility and shame thing, dude. The thing is, Zuko is extremely prideful, right? He's prideful, even though he's banished. He's so proud of being from the Fire Nation. He's proud of being the prince. When that guy like the one of the rogue soldiers in the Earth Kingdom in the episode Zuko, or when he knocks him down, they confront each other like in an old western. He knocks Zuko down, Zuko gets back up. He firebends him, breaks his stance, everything. And he says I'm the son of the Fire Lord. I am this, I am that. Because deep down, at least in the initial part of the season, the not just that season but the series, he's extremely prideful, dude. And the thing is that quote for Iroh about shame and pride ties into him, because the thing is that even though he's extremely prideful, there's a lot of shame tied into his pride. He's ashamed of being the disgraced prince, the disgraced son of the Fire Lord. He wants to get his honor back. He wants his father's his love and his acceptance. There's so much shame in tied to his pride as well. And pride is one of the things, pride and shame, it's one of the biggest things that's that initially stops him from following his path and trying so hard to stay on the path of his father, becoming the prince, becoming a world conqueror, becoming a victor for the Fire Nation, part of their war machine, everything like that, instead of becoming a good person and a more humble ruler. And it's not just the fact that he wants his father's love, but also the fact that he's extremely prideful, and the fact that he's also ashamed is that those two things are tying him back to his father, wanting to impress his father and be the prince that his father wants him to be. And the thing is he gets humbled so much by different things. He's humbled on his travels in the Earth Kingdom. Even Ozai notices it, right? In the opening of season 3, Ozai tells him I can see that your travels have changed you, because he's already starting to change. Then the reveal that he's related to Avatar Roku, that definitely humbled him even more. The fact that he it was off screen until the series finale, but then he saw the true horror of his father's plan, that he wanted to wage basically the second genocide and wipe out the Earth Kingdom. Seeing that as well really shocked him. So a lot of these things ended up bringing him back to his own destiny, which is being a good person and being a benevolent ruler, things like that. And that's why I guess Iroh was also very proud of him, because Iroh had to figure it out on his own. And seeing Zuko figuring it out on his own also I think it also made him very proud of Zuko. Yeah, for sure. So I think that's the thing with those two. Yeah. So any thoughts on Iroh's character? I think there's a lot of memes with Iroh, his wisdom and quotes and shit like that. I don't know if you guys are into that stuff. But...
I just had a thought. I forgot. What was it? Oh, and I remember Iroh talking about how he studied the waterbenders to what's it called? To learn how to redirect lightning.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So that showed how he then, and what did he say? He said that you have to study all of the.
Yeah, that was the quote I used for Hansi Flick, dude.
Yeah, yeah, I knew it. I knew it was gonna...
because that's what Hansi Flick did. He took aspects of Pep system and Klopp system, and basically he combined them, dude. K-Trade, dude. The K-Trade was right, dude. You have to combine them.
Oh yeah.
Draw knowledge from many sources, I think, was the quote. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to combine them, dude. You have to combine them. Dude. You're not seeing them. Okay, so any last thoughts on the world building? What did you guys like about the world building of Avatar? The setting, the mythos. Avatar is one of those things, kind of like Lord of the Rings, that feels like there's a main plot, but there's a lot of other things going on in the background. It's a pretty big world. So what do you guys think of that? The spirit world and everything. What do you guys think of the Four Nations and all that?
I'm gonna put you on the spot again. Buttercup, go ahead.
Oh, why do I have to go first again? Please, no. You go first.
I'll go.
Okay, Morgan will go. Yeah.
I'll go.
Probably.
I'll do this for you. No worries. So, I think, what you said earlier, that it had a lot of influence on different cultures, different everything that related to Earth. but it was also like its own world. That when you think about Bossing, or when you say Bossing Say to someone who's watched the show, they know exactly what you're talking about, and they know like exactly everything about that place, even if it's not real. And you wish it was real. I would love to go to Boston Saying and see all the pretty girls. But like everything is its own world, and the creators did a great job making them all so different from each other. That's something that's great.
Yeah. Definitely.
Now,
I
Grace,
kind of
like that. Thank you.
Sorry. I had to think of an answer. That's why I made you go first. I agree with you. Honestly, I'd rather go to a Mashu over Bossing Say just because I kind of like the mail system. I feel like that would be fun. But yeah, I agree with you. I feel like just the show in general, the way that they set everything up, and the way that the stories went and the setting and everything really made you feel immersed in the show. And that kind of takes a lot for me. I kind of get bored easily when I'm watching something, where I usually have to go back to it. But this is something like I always felt when I was watching it that I was part of the show, and well, not really, but kinda. But I don't know. I just really enjoyed it a lot. I really liked the setting. I really liked the parallels that would go along, like you said, certain religions and cultures that were represented, or at least implied throughout the whole show. I really liked how they took different aspects of the entire world and put that in there.
So, like, I don't know if you guys got this vibe from it, dude, but, like, when I was watching it, especially when I was younger, dude, like, the world was so engrossing. You know, I just got sucked into it. You know what I mean? Like, almost, like, feeling like I was a part of this, like, strange world. You know, like, and I feel like really, really good media. You know, for example, Game of Thrones had that effect. Lord of the Rings had that effect on me, where I got so immersed in not just the story, but the actual setting and the world and, like, the languages and stuff like that of all the characters. And, like, did you guys experience that, or is it just me?
Yeah, actually, I have this thing where it's like, even if a character doesn't speak the language that I'm used to, I can try to figure out what it is. So, like, I watched, me and my brother, actually, totally off topic, but we watched Star Wars Rebels recently, and by the end of the series, we could figure out what Chopper was saying every single scene, and I feel like I figured that out with Momo, which is pretty funny.
That actually, dude, Momo does have his own. Like, I got that he's kind of like the Groot of this story, dude. Like, he like like
that's good. That's a good point.
Nobody can really understand what he's saying, but like he's definitely saying something, dude. Like, do you guys remember like that episode Daydreams and Nightmares where Aang like hallucinates and he's talking lemur to Momo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, what a weird episode.
I guess that it's in that way. It's like how what's the raccoon's name?
Rocket.
Rocket
understands
He's
Groot.
the only one who understands.
Groot.
Yeah. So Aang is the only one who understands Momo. But yeah.
Good comparison.
And kind of like Chewbacca from Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did they even? Okay.
How did you miss that?
How did I miss what?
How
did I compare that? Oh, well.
Yeah.
Because you guys said you said Groot first, so I'm gonna kick you out right now.
On a side note, dude, make sure our good friend, the Indian pundit, doesn't join thinking we're doing.
Oh no. Okay, I'll change that right now. Sorry, give me a second. Yeah, we can't.
I'm just muted right now, but yeah.
We can't have disaster classes like that.
This is assumption, bro.
This is assumption. There you go. Okay, he can't join now.
Okay, so our last topic before we like round off today is definitely like this one, dude. Like, and I'll start by saying this, right? I've seen so many good shows. Does anybody know that show Once Upon a Time that came out on like ABC?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We watched that in middle
I made
school
Morgan
sometimes.
watch it.
Like, Okay, many of you won't necessarily. Okay, we can all agree Avatar is like a different level to that show.
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely.
But the one thing is like, our last topic is basically this, right? What did Avatar do so well to wrap up, to make its season finale? Because like this was definitely said by a lot of people, dude. The show got better, not worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like the peak was not until the very end. The very last episode, the very last scene of the last episode, some will say. Like, I mean, like the show was just on a never-ending upward trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
So how did they do that? Like I want to get into that because the thing is, like, for example, like, and the reason I brought up Once Upon a Time is like that show had an incredibly interesting concept, of these fairy tales like based off Disney movies that we've seen, exist in these different times. There's kind of like a time warp. It's kind of like a time warp of its own, different dimension sort of thing, right? And then but the thing is, dude, they just keep like going on and adding like so many different characters, dude, and it just becomes a mess, dude. Like, I mean, like, how? And I don't even want to get into like Game of Thrones, dude. Like,
Ew.
No.
the
Game
best
Game of Bones.
like for the first 4 seasons, dude, I ranked that show as the greatest show of all time for the first 4 seasons, dude. But then after season 6, and then especially the last 4 episodes of the last season, dude, like, it was just like such a disaster class.
You can't kill the Ice King like that, but okay.
Oh my god, dude! Imagine if the Fire Lord just died by like falling.
Oh my god.
I think like one of the things, dude, that like one of the reasons why I like, and I want your like guys' like takes on it, what good things do the creators do to keep the show interesting? And I think one of I'll start us off. Like, one of the things I think they did, which was really good, is that like from the very beginning, they knew and we knew that the show had a beginning and end point, right? Like, the beginning was like them discovering Aang and the iceberg, and the end, was that like he defeats the Fire Lord. We knew that was going to be the end of the series. Like, we knew there was not going to be any more than that. And
Thank
having
God.
like that,
Thank God they didn't milk it.
Exactly, dude. Milking it ruins something, dude. That's one good thing they did, so we knew there was a start point and an end point, and they had to fill in the gap. So like, and the thing is, like, like when you have a time constraint like that, the whole show of Avatar takes place in their universe, like within the span of a year. And Aang and Zuko say that at the end, like, so much has changed in a year. A year ago I was hunting you down, a year ago I was trapped in the iceberg. So like within a few months, dude, like all that happens, so like that time constraint really like is something that made them make the best of it, right? But what is something else, especially like, do you guys think that like is the reason that the show got better from season 1 then to season 2 and then to season 3? Like, Pablo, like, let's start with you. Like, what was one of the things that you liked that the creators did to make the show better?
Let's see. I mean, what they did with Zuko, like, carry, like, that like carried the show. They didn't carry the show, but it like changed so much. It changed so much about it. Also, like, what happened with Roku, like those reveals like that helped a lot as well. It didn't help that they made us wait 9 months. But
Morgan chuckles in the background.
Oh my god.
Didn't have to wait.
Didn't have to. Oh my god. You know what it felt like to watch it on Netflix? Like how smoothly it all went. I didn't have to wait a single. I could just finish the show in one day if I wanted to. Oh my god.
I think you and Morgan, because you saw that on Netflix like continuously, like you two were like really good to like ask those two, like how did
I feel like it would have been a different viewing experience if I watched it at the way that you guys did, where you had to wait. Whereas I could just spend the day in my room and watch the entire thing, giving little comments to Mary Grace. Telling her, I can't believe this character did this. Like, no.
Oh my god.
But if I could speak, are you done?
Okay. Yeah, like
you don't even. I don't even have to finish. You can just interrupt me.
I'm trying to.
Oh, dude, you sound like you've been married for 10 years already.
So something that I liked since the beginning of the show was that it was literally told like a book. Like each part or each season was a book. But like
Yep.
you said earlier, it was beginning to end. Like you knew it was gonna end because a book always has to end a certain way, and they did it. They did it perfectly. They did it exactly how they probably visioned it. They probably a good thing that I always think is maybe creators vision the end and then they do the middle and then beginning. Or sometimes I don't know. That's just something I always thought about too. Just the way that they make the story in the background.
Unlike a certain company that just that made Star Wars that just makes stuff up on the spot. We won't talk about.
Ooh.
We won't mention their names, but yeah. Yeah.
There needs to be a plan, dude. There needs to be a plan
Yes.
in place. Like,
Yes.
A certain
That's the
person in that company had no plan, and those last few things that came out in the cinema were
Cinema.
We don't like to talk about that, but yeah.
But like Morgs and Pablo, dude, like,
Yeah.
do you guys? One of the things that I've gotta ask is that like, didn't you like notice the kind of like tonal shift, like the initial like first like maybe 3/4 of season 1, right, was definitely felt more like a kid show, but then
Yes.
there was a tonal
Yeah.
shift. Like there was a shift in the animation quality as well, like from
Definitely.
season 1 to
You
2
saw
to
it,
3.
too.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
you know, the show became more serious. Do you think that like made it better as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because if it had stayed like as a, because in like you said in the beginning, it was like you could see that why it's on Nickelodeon, like why it's a kid show, and if it had stayed like that until like season 2, we probably would have lost interest in it. I have like a feeling that we would have lost interest, even as kids. We would have lost interest, and just seeing how like it got more serious, the story got like significantly better each season. What happened with Zuko, that helped, of course, and that's like one of the parts that like one of the serious parts of the show. And then Iroh, and then Azula, and then they an Ozai and Aang, and how he like how he was scared of all that was gonna happen, and he didn't know what to do. And so the more the show progressed, it became better, obviously, but definitely because it got more of an adult tone. And even Mark Hamill said that too. It's like it's a good show that an adult and a kid can watch together.
Adult Anakin can watch. What?
Yes,
I know, I heard that too.
An adult Anakin can watch it. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Was okay? So like anybody can take the floor of this. Oh, boy, you're about to say something.
No. Go ahead.
Anybody can take the floor on this one, dude. Like, what's like you already know mine, and I have another one. But like, what's the best animated moment of the show?
Oh my god!
Those beautiful anime, and I created a whole slideshow of them, like for the intro, but our viewers can see it. But like right now, what's your like, give me like a couple or like one that you really liked. Like anybody can speak to you. Those beautiful animated scene of the show.
Yeah, I've got mine, but I want to see what these ladies have as their favorites.
Okay, Morgs, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, MG.
If you can think of anything. No? Okay, she's turning a blank right now. So let her process the show a little over in her head. So go ahead.
Drop the bomb, Paul. We'll tell us yours.
I go? Okay, I agree with you, Anish. Like, I know it's the black and white thing, and
beautiful.
It's bro, like, come on, like it's been colored this whole show, and then all of a sudden they turn this into black and white with only the color in the what is the term that they use?
No, and I forgot one. Dude. Like there's a the color was the moon spirit monster, the fire bending of Zuko and Zhao, and there's another very nice touch of color, which is the blue eyes of Yue. Her eyes are like in color.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but what was the term for like the monster? You said it was
the Koizilla.
Yeah, the Koizilla. Yeah,
that's what the fans called it. I think.
Yeah, but like how that was the only colored part, and the rest was black and white. And then how it restored back at the end. But yeah, definitely that one for sure. I agree with you. I know that was your favorite because you had talked about it earlier. But
Yeah, I got two more, but like, yeah, I want to
okay.
hear from everybody else.
Yeah. Go ahead, MG.
Okay, so I agree with y'all. I really like that part, but also I feel like I'm always bringing up Zuko, but I love him. So I really like the Agni Kai.
Yes.
I
Ooh,
really like the way, and I like how
Yes.
they actually pretty much just have music in the background until
Yes.
he's like, "Whatever, you're not gonna show me lightning," and it's just like it doesn't need to have any dialogue until the right moment,
Mm-hmm.
and that right there, that's a good part.
Did you think of
Edit.
one more
Yeah.
before Anish goes?
I mean, no. I don't think it's
Okay.
a good addition.
Why?
All right.
'Cause
Give
I
it
don't
3,
know.
5,
Yeah,
4,
come on. The's nothing.
3,
I mean, I
It doesn't have to
some-
be that
2.
significant.
Okay, I was saying that everything has a significance. Every like piece of animation or every little detail has some significance. Like, why would they put it in if it had no meaning? You know.
No,
Like,
but what's like the
everything with
most
the black
beautiful
and
like
but like
scene?
yeah, what's the most
everything with the
beautiful
music.
scene?
the most beautiful like to you
Scene, yeah.
animated
What's
scene?
the most beautiful scene? Like, for example, you can say the kiss at the end was like the most
Yeah.
beautiful scene. But just
No,
say
I
like
like
your
the
most
painted
beautiful
lady.
scene.
When Katara was the painted
That hit
lady, I
hard.
thought that
A
was
really good one, yeah. That's a good
beautiful.
one.
Yeah.
The
That's a
fog,
good
and then
one.
it just shows her.
Well, I was about to say it's so eerie, and then like you
Yeah.
just see her
Yes.
on the water.
That's all I could think about.
I got one. Do you guys remember? Like, so like I want to talk about like actually. I'm not sure which to go because I want to talk about two scenes. One is the last Agni Kai, and one is like the other one that I have to talk about. So let's talk about the other one because it comes first, like chronologically, as per the show. Do you guys remember the Firebending Masters episode where the two dragons come out and like
Yes.
this
Oh,
definitely
Yes.
relates to
Oh
me,
my
dude.
gosh.
Like, that scene where they open like they like breathe fire on Zuko and Aang, and you can see a rainbow of fire.
Yeah.
That is gorgeous. Yes.
Beautiful.
Do you guys any chemistry majors here?
I mean,
Nope. I'm psychology.
I was
So
was
like
a
if
bio
you've taken a
major,
chemistry
but-
class, dude, you know
yeah.
that like a
I'm
lot of
communications.
the fire. With fire, dude, like you can get all those different colors of fire.
Yeah.
You know, by burning like different salt crystals. For example, sodium borate, NaCl. I believe NaCl, sodium chloride, or table salt. Like NaCl burns like a bright yellow.
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah.
That was in a Breaking Bad episode. I don't know if you've seen it. Where
Yep.
he had a spray bottle and he was spraying a flame and it changed to different colors.
But the most beautiful part of the scene, and I think the most like this is actually not the whole scene. There's a very like maybe like for 1 or 2 seconds of frames you can like there of the scene that I'm talking about is specifically when the fire you can see it like reflecting off of Aang's eye. You know, like
That's
if
so
you look
important.
closely
Yes.
at somebody,
Oh my gosh.
you look closely into somebody's eyes, dude. You can because like your eyes have like a reflective surface, you know, like
Yeah.
because they're mostly made out of water. So like the thing is like when you look into somebody's eye, you can kind of see like a reflection of what they're looking at, you know. And to animate that, like show like on Aang's pupil, like you know all the different colors like of fire that are like around them, like that. Those 2 seconds like was definitely like good there, for me. Like that was one of the best moments. And I want to talk about the last Agni Kai now, dude. Like so there's a big like other big symbol like that I'm so glad you brought that up because like I have to talk about it. Like the blue and the red contrast.
Yeah.
You know, the blue and red contrast is there like all over the show. Like, and it's a huge symbol, right? When Zuko is extremely sick towards the end of season 2, and he's like Iroh says, there's a conflict going on between his body and his mind. Like he has a vision, and in his vision, like the blue dragon and the red dragon, like supposed to represent Azula and Iroh, were like giving him conflicting advice. The blue dragon is telling him to sleep and the red dragon is telling him to wake up and keep fighting. like that the blue and red like represents like the conflict within Zuko. Like what was Zuko's like alias or like alternate identity in the show? The blue spirit, right? The blue spirit represented like the part of his personality that he was more ashamed of. Like at the end of the blue spirit episode, Zuko like has his room, and then like on one side of his room, like on the wall, there's a flag of the Fire Nation, and one of the subtle things in that episode is that like at the end he turns on his bed away from the flag, so like he's ashamed because he knows deep down he betrayed his country. So the blue represents that side of his personality, and the red represents like the side that he's more, you could say, proud of. And like that, and like of course in Sozin's comet, like in the universe, is basically like when firebenders are extremely powerful. So you had Azula and her blue fire signature, like blue flames, and then Zuko, like now imbued with the power of the dragons, has improved like firebending as well. And then you had the clash of like the orange, red, and yellow fire of Zuko with the blue and like light blue fire of Azula, dude. And like the opening scene is when they just unleash like as much fire as they can on each other, and then like they meet halfway, and you can see this huge explosion that's like half blue and half red. Like that moment right there was definitely like up there in one of the most beautifully animated scenes in the show. And there's a video out there that we'll definitely link in the description that explains like why that fight scene is probably like the best fight scene in animated history. I think it definitely is.
Yeah.
In terms of beauty and everything, yeah, like one-on-one, like that's a beautiful like fight. Definitely is like a beautiful fight, dude. It's definitely that one, dude, and I'll say like definitely like Buttercup knows like the this one, dude, the fight between Ahsoka and Maul in the Clone Wars finale, like that was, and and again over there you see red and blue, the red and blue contrast over there as well, like with the lightsabers. But yeah, like that like is perfect. That's perfect. Like I mean, right there. So like these two fight scenes are like my favorite fight scenes. Like in animation for sure. Like it's absolutely beautiful, and the soundtrack like just makes it even better. Yeah. So
yeah.
So Pablo, do you want to like take over and add anything else? Because that's about it for me.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of I don't know. Like I'm trying to. Okay, so let's talk about how. I mean, we don't have to talk about this in depth, but like briefly. Yeah. Do you guys think that like Korra could have like this legacy, an impact like the show had? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, because it was second.
Yeah. I didn't even watch past the first season.
Yeah.
I feel like
a little bit. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I feel like with Korra, it was just she progressed so quickly.
Yeah.
That if the show ended in the first season, I would have been fine with it. She got her airbending at the end of the first season, and that's pretty much all I know of the story. I didn't watch anything past it because I wasn't really interested. I just wanted to see her get her airbending. I feel like they couldn't obviously mimic what they did with Aang, having him get an element every season, but I feel like that's also a bad thing for Korra, and that's why a lot of people didn't watch it, is because she was just so perfect at it at the beginning, apparently, and that's just not something you want to watch. You want to see the person struggle and then finally get at the peak at the end. Like, that's not what happens. She's already perfect at the beginning, and then she finally gets her airbending at season 1.
Yeah, so what?
Like no.
She has everything already.
Yeah. And then, Aang shows up and gives her her bending back, and that's pretty much it. That should be the end of the whole series. That is what I think is the end.
And you don't get attached to the characters as much as you did in Avatar. Like, just in Korra, there's nothing much with the characters in the first season, or even just going through all the episodes. Nothing different really happens.
I agree.
So it's interesting, and you don't get tied in. I feel like the characters in Avatar really tied you in.
Yeah, I liked Bolin and Mako. Those were the only two characters I was like really in it for. But yeah, I was just not. I didn't really get into Korra.
No.
I just don't think it was like the best concept. I feel like it could have been better, and then I probably would have watched more of it. But I really can't just sit down and watch Korra.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Is that
tried.
it? Oh. No, you
Yeah.
guys are missing out, dude. No. You guys you have to see. You have to you have to see, dude. Because in my opinion, dude, like the show is like it's not as good, dude, but it's like you could say, like for example, like like definitely obviously I'm asking Pablo this because he's biased. I know this, but like Federer and Nadal, right? Like he'll say Federer is better than Nadal, but even Pablo can acknowledge that like Federer and Nadal are like on the same level. You know what I mean? So one is better than the other, but they're on the same level, right? So it's kind of similar to this, where like obviously Avatar's first one, it's better than Korra, dude, but Korra is on that level as a show. It's in that conversation, like because the thing is like, dude, like one thing like everybody talked about was kind of like villains, right? In Azula, sympathy for the villain, sympathy for the devil, that sort of like ideology. Right, that gets expanded upon even more in Korra because the villains in Korra, barring Azula, are better than the ones in Avatar. By far. Like, especially in season 3. Like, you don't have to sit through all 4 seasons of Korra, but please, like, bear season 2. Season 2 is much better than season 1. But if you go through season 2, you will love season 3 because season 3 is very much like Airbender. Like it takes place in the Earth Kingdom. You get to see Ba Sing Se again. You get to see a lot of the old haunts of Avatar and how they've changed. I don't want to spoil it, but you get to see okay, fine, I'll just spoil it anyway. You get to see Zuko again. You get to see Zuko.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. You have to. So you gotta sit through it and see it, dude. The villains are done way better. Like for example, Zahir. Like he was one of the villains of season 3, but he's like he's kind of like a Thanos, like like
I don't know.
Pablo, have you seen Korra? Have you sat down and seen it?
Nah. I need to though. I haven't.
No, you guys have to definitely, dude. Yeah. Like because dude, he's kind of like a Thanos type of villain, where he's kind of like very powerful, this and that, but he's more philosophical, and you can see there's reasons for why he's doing what he's doing, even though he's very cruel. Like like you can see, for example, the White Lotus and what becomes of that, and how that organization branches out into different subgroups, and how that's important. So a lot of things that started out in Avatar get built upon. And one thing I really liked about seasons 2 and 3 of Korra is that, like, they really expanded upon the spirit world, and we didn't get to see that much of the spirit world in Avatar.
They saw Iroh in the spirit world.
Oh, dude, that scene was amazing, 100%. But definitely, I agree with Morgs that like the characters aren't like you don't get that attached to them. I really liked Korra by the end of it, dude, because like Korra definitely does struggle a lot, especially in season 4. She gets beat up a lot, dude. Like she gets beat up a lot more than Aang. I know Aang got shot in the back, but like she gets really banged up, dude. Like I mean, over the course of the show, like, and you really sympathize with her. Like Korra is basically Ahsoka from Clone Wars, dude. Like she's like comes off as like kind of a brat. Like, and she's like really arrogant and like, like talks like smack to like, her superiors or her teachers or whatever, dude. But like, she gets humbled, and she gets hurt a lot and then becomes more relatable there. Yeah. So her and Lin Beifong, who's like supposed to be Toph's daughter in the future, like those two are definitely. But other than that, I didn't get attached to the main characters. I did get really attached to the villains. The villains are all really good. Amon is a great villain, very intimidating, like more powerful than any villain in Last Airbender, definitely. Then like season 2, basically like again like an even more powerful villain. Like who's, I mean, he's kind of like a Fire Lord type of villain, dude. But like, I mean, I think he's developed better compared to the Fire Lord still. And season 3 had definitely the best. 3 and maybe you can say 4 as well had the best villains like of the. Of the whole series, and maybe of the whole universe of like Avatar. Definitely those like Zahir and his gang were definitely one of the most likable characters, despite being villains as well. So yeah, like
Yasir?
No Zahir. Yasir Sai. Oh my god, dude. Yasir, dude, imagine if Yasir Sai just walks up and starts flying, dude. Like they're like airbending and freaking flying, dude. Like and starting like, oh my god, man, dude. Like nah, man, dude. Then I'm checking out, dude. I'm checking out. That's it for me, dude. This guy. Oh my god. Man. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So anything else, Pablo? Like,
nah, that's it for
any
me.
more prompts?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You guys have anything to add?
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much. I was gonna say that at the end. I was waiting.
This was a nice discussion.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me last minute. I wasn't prepared, but it was pretty chill.
You carried it, don't worry.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is really fun. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for not getting mad at me talking about Sokka and Zuko so much. Because they're great. But yeah, thanks so much.
This was awesome.
We'll bring you back for the Clone Wars.
Ooh, yes, do it.
But Clone Wars is not nostalgic yet.
I mean, but we can still
talk about it.
Yeah. Or we'll see.
I'll talk about it.
The original trilogy, though.
Yeah, if you talk about Star Wars,
definitely.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. I actually watched. I was watching Star Wars earlier. I was on TV.
Actually, to be honest, we can, dude. You know what we should do for Clone Wars, dude? Like, I don't want to talk about Phantom Menace, man. I don't want to talk about Attack of the Clones that much because those two movies are really boring. So what we should do is a combined like a 2-part podcast, dude. Like, part 1 is Clone Wars, Darth Maul, all that, and Revenge of the Sith, because Revenge of the Sith is a nostalgic property now. For sure.
Yes.
Especially since Clone Wars finale overlaps with Revenge of the Sith. Like, we need to talk about that in one podcast. And then part 2, we go back to our 80s roots and talk about the original trilogy.
Yes.
So, yeah, let's go.
And then we trash on the new trilogy as much as possible.
Oh my god. Yeah, we'll do that at the end of the podcast. Yeah, just a trash session, just a critique.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's it from everyone then?
Yep.
All right, we're exactly 2 hours in now. Damn. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Is it over?
No, not yet. I was just saying we're 2 hours. Okay. But yeah, okay. We'll see you guys next time. I don't know. Oh, when are we doing the Mbappé video?
Probably like maybe sometime this week. Definitely should. I don't know if these guys are ready tonight to roll.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. Hell yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys next time then. And yes, it was nice conversation. And yeah, so we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.